Okay, hello. It's Dr. Gleisner here, and today we are talking about floating and sinking. And I'm going to give you the 5 things that you need to know in order to answer the questions at the end. Now, the questions at the end are going to be asked by Mr. Dinosaur. And Mr. Dinosaur has an unfortunate habit of getting all sorts of things wrong. So you're going to have to help him to answer the questions properly.
Yes, you will. I'm Mr. Dinosaur.
So you can't even see my lips move.
You can't see Miss Dr. Gleisner's lips move. There you go.
Okay, so Mr. Dinosaur will come back and ask his questions, and you're going to have to help him to correct them. So, number 1, upthrust is a force which must be at least equal to or greater than the weight of objects for that object to float. So, what I'm going to show you, my perfect drawing here of HMS McBoat. So, that's it in water. The first picture is of the side view, and then the second one is of the front view or the back view. And you can see that the weight of the boat is trying to get it, is trying to pull it down, whereas the upthrust, which is the force of the water pushing on the underside of the boat, is trying to keep it afloat. So if both of those forces are balanced, the object will neither fly into the sky nor will it sink. It'll just float in the water as before. And I'll just go back to me. There we are. Number 2 is objects will float if their density is less than that of water, which is about 1 kilogram per liter. So if they have a mass of 1 kilogram in the volume of a liter, then they should float. Or less than that. So it can be less than a kilogram because water has a density of 1 kilogram per liter. So if anything is more massive than that, if it has more mass in a smaller amount of space, then they will sink. The shape of the object is also important, as hollow objects can float because their shape includes air, which makes them overall less dense than water. So we're going back to HMS McBoat. So you can see I've drawn a shape with a deck on it. So it's from the front or the back, it's a triangle, and it's a sort of a trapeze from the side. And boats will float because the inside is actually filled with air. So overall, although the steel alone, if you just made that into a lump of steel, would sink because steel is more dense than water. It's got a density more than 1 kilogram per 1 liter of space. It will actually float if you make a sort of bowl shape out of it. And that's, of course, what we know. And you can see in the background there, you can see all sorts of boats, and they're made from steel or things that otherwise would probably sink or at least not be as high in the water. There we are. Okay. Number 4, sorry. Density is the mass divided by the volume. So that's what I've been saying. So mass is measured in kilograms, volume is measured in liters or milliliters, or more accurately, we should say decimeters cubed. So a decimeter cubed is a liter, or a centimeter cubed is a milliliter. Number 5, if an object displaces more water than the object has mass, the object will float. For example, an object with a volume of 1 liter has to displace at least 1 liter or 1 kilogram of water in order to float. So what I want you to imagine here is if you've got your bathtub right full to the brim, so you couldn't put anything else in there without the water spilling. If you then put an object in, the water that gets spilled out has to be at least as much mass as the object has in terms of the volume that it takes up. So let's imagine you've got a bit of wood and you submerge it into the water. Then it'll probably, let's say it's a liter of water that gets pushed out of the bathtub. But if you measure the mass of the wood, it should be less than a kilogram. So that means that the wood will float. But let's say you've got a gold bar, as we all do, lying around at home, and the gold, you've got a liter of gold. It's like a heavy lump like that. And you put that in the bath, and then you will find that, again, a liter of water has been displaced, but the gold bar will have a mass more than a kilogram. So that will not float, that will sink. Okay, so in the end, Mr. Dinosaur is going to ask you some questions. This is a segment I call, Oh, Mr. Dinosaur. Okay, so let's have a look then and see what Mr. Dinosaur has to say. So, have you got any questions, Mr. Dinosaur?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's go to it. So, Mr. Dinosaur, you think that objects will float if there is no gravity acting on the object because the object has no weight in water. Do you think that?
Yes, I think that. Objects float in water because they have no gravity in water.
Okay, what I would like you to do with that is explain why Mr. Dinosaur and how Mr. Dinosaur is wrong. Okay, secondly, Mr. Dinosaur, you think that apples have a density of 0.9 kilograms per liter, which is fine, compared with water's 1 kilogram per liter, and you think that the apple will sink.
Yes, I've never seen a floating apple. Well, I haven't seen an apple on water either, but I think it will sink.
Okay, so Mr. Dinosaur thinks that the apple, with a density of 0.9 kilograms per liter, will actually sink. So explain to him why he's wrong, and we already know he's wrong. Okay, so Mr. Dinosaur also thinks that a steel sphere is basically just a steel ball with a hollow inside. Oh, hello, Mr. Dinosaur. Has a mass of 5 kilograms and a volume of 10 liters, so 10 decimeters cubed. So its density is 5 divided by 10, 5 kilograms divided by 10 liters, which is 0.5 kilograms per liter, compared to water's, again, 1 kilogram per liter. Mr. Dinosaur thinks that as the steel is heavy, that the sphere is made out of, the sphere will sink. Is Mr. Dinosaur wrong? Yes, he is.
I don't think I'm wrong. I think you're wrong. Steel always sinks.
So I want you to explain why Mr. Dinosaur is wrong and the steel sphere will not sink. Thank you. Number 4. Help Mr. Dinosaur calculate the densities of the following objects and decide whether they will sink or float. I need you to copy this table. You can...
Oh, hello. Hello. Yes, you need to press space in order to stop the video and copy the table.
Okay. And then you calculate the density of the object. And then in the last one, you can say whether the object will sink or float. Number 5. Mr. Dinosaur fills a bowl with water. He places an object of mass 1.2 kilograms into the bowl and collects the water that has spilled. So we are assuming the bowl is full to the brim and that you can't put anything else in the bowl without spilling some water. And the mass of the water that he collects is 1 kilogram. Has the object floated or did it sink?
I think it has floated.
I don't think so. What if the object had displaced exactly 1.2 kilograms of water? So it has a mass of 1.2 kilograms of water. And what if it had displaced exactly what would happen to the object then? And that's your bonus question. Okay, thank you very much. Hope you had fun with this. I did. And I shall see you in the next lesson. Bye.